Everybody to the PHNX Suns pregame show. I'm Lindsay, that's Saul, that's Espo, and we are presented by BetMGM. Make sure you guys check them out and get your bets in before this game tips off. Tonight, the Phoenix Suns will face off against the Portland Trailblazers, and of course, the big storyline is that Deandre Ayton will be facing off against his former team for the first time. How are you guys feeling about this one?
You know, I want to put this to rest. I want it over with so that way we can all move on, because I know everybody's asking about whether or not there's going to be a tribute video or, you know, how people feel about this, and then the matchup with Nurk and all this other stuff, right? Like, hey, Deandre Ayton plays for the Portland Trailblazers now. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the time he had when he was here. You know, me being a U of A guy and I was a team DA basically the entire time he was here. I thought that this was the best move for him to go to a different team. I hope he thrives, but he doesn't play for the Suns anymore, just like I felt about Mikal, just like I felt about Cam Johnson and all the other Suns that have gone and left us. I don't care about them anymore. I care about my team, so we move forward.
Yeah, there's plenty of people hating on Ayton, and I just don't have the energy to. Great, you're back. Like I said yesterday, I'll golf clap for you when I see whatever tribute video you have, and then you're just the guy wearing a Portland Trailblazers jersey that I hope Nurk and the rest of the guys, Drew Eubanks, just eat alive. Like that's all I care about at this point. I do not care about any of the other stuff. Look, I don't want people to boo him. He's a Phoenix kid. He went to school here. You know, like whatever. Just indifference is the play here. So.
Listen, I'm still rooting for DA when he's not playing the Suns, the same way I'm still rooting for Cam and Mikal and a lot of other people who have left the Suns organization. Mm-hmm. I want them to be successful within their careers, just not when they're playing against the Suns. Yeah. It's really as simple as that.
Larry Lewis in the chat said a tribute video. We didn't win anything. That's not how it goes, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't go like that. Like, listen, usually if a player gives you 3, 4, 5 years of their career,
sometimes even less, if they're on your team,
and they were a significant part of whatever it is that you did, they're going to get a tribute video. I don't care. Should. Yeah, and they should. Like, that's been the precedent. So, yeah. Listen, let's just see it and move on.
How many tribute videos does Torrey Craig get when he comes back this year?
Bless his heart. Torrey Craig deserves all the tribute videos, okay?
To quote one of the executives that used to be at the Suns when I was there, what, did he die? Why does he deserve a tribute video?
Yeah, well, that executive is a turd. So, sorry, not sorry.
I'm not saying anything.
You give people tribute videos for what they contributed to your organization, whether or not you won or lost. They were a part of your organization, and you thank them for that. It's the same way that if somebody takes another job, you should be happy for them to move on from your company. You shouldn't be petty and spiteful, and if you are, you need to go to therapy. Anyway.
It's very true.
DA is going to get a tribute video, like he should. Of course, the Suns are doing it right. And I hope that everyone at least claps and the boos aren't too big.
There will be free therapy up in the 200 level tonight if you need it. Just look for the gorilla. So.
Gerald did ask DA, though, before the game, what type of reception or reaction he was expecting tonight from Suns fans. Here's what DA had to say.
I don't even know. You know, I know Suns fans, if you don't wear the same jersey as them, shit, good luck. I mean, you know, they going with their team regardless of who on it, whoever in the jersey. But I don't know how I should go. I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, he seems like good old natured DA, and honestly, that's a completely fair answer.
That's a 100% spot on answer.
Yeah.
Like, Suns fans are going to root for their team. Like, whether it doesn't matter if you're on it or not. Like, listen, he couldn't have said it any better. And again, that's just another glimpse to who Deandre is behind the scenes as opposed to his performance on the court. That's something that Gerald and I and you know very, very well. We've gotten to know DA over the years. He's always been a real just fun, nice, he doesn't take himself seriously type of guy. And, I think a lot of people bagged him for it because of the performance on the court, and they conflated the two. And, I can see some aspect of that, but listen, I miss him as an individual, as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he brought to this valley at the time he came, like we were all excited about DA as the first round pick. And I thought those expectations were wildly high, and he couldn't live up to them. And especially when you throw in Luka Doncic, it just made it all even worse. But he had some really, really great moments for the Suns, especially in that 2021 run, especially against the New Orleans Pelicans 2 seasons ago. Without him, they don't win that series. Without Chris Paul, they don't win that series. Like, they carried that team in that series. Like, so he's had some good moments, and that's what I'm going to try to remember, and I'm going to clap for him, and he moves on.
Yes, some relationships just run their course.
Yeah. Totally. Nick said Ish Wainwright tribute video. I bet you they will do something for Ish as well.
They did have imagery that said welcome back to DA, welcome back to Tumani, and welcome back to Ish Wainwright that they showed.
I'm sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You were
guy
here
that
for
never
15
played
minutes.
a single game for us.
He played in Summer League, though. That's all I'm
Summer
Are
League
we-
legend.
Are we going to get a tribute video for Tumani?
No.
That would be. You
I
know
don't think
what?
so.
Oh my God, that would be so
That would
awesome.
be the greatest troll ever. That you did a tribute video to him, basically devaluing tribute videos in every way, shape, and form.
No, you're fine. We have a couple super chats. Submerged Suns fan sent us one. Thank you. Said, like a school of sharks, I, all caps, beg the Suns to rip apart the Blazers. I want blood. LOL. Dope shoes, Espo and Saul. Hair looks fantastic, Lindsay. Thanks. Appreciate it, chat. And then Frank also sent us one and said, clap for DA. I agree with Lindsay, who has 2 Emmys.
Oh my God.
Those are
Thanks,
factual truths.
2-time.
Heyo. We'll see. We'll find out exactly how it goes down. But I am in agreement that clap for DA when the tribute video happens. And then after that, it's all fair game based on how the game is going. And you can cheer, you can boo around those type of things. Because that's just normal fan behavior within games. So I'm okay with that. All right, let's look at the injury report for tonight's game and see what's going on over here. On the Suns side of things, Yuta Watanabe is still out. Bradley Beal is out. On the Trailblazers side of things, they got a lot of guys out. Malcolm Brogdon is questionable. Scoot Henderson is out. Anfernee Simons is out. Robert Williams III is out. And Ish Wainwright is out.
Damn.
So sad. We won't get to see our boy Ish.
Malcolm Brogdon is available.
Is he
tonight. I just
available
saw
now?
That, so
Okay.
Listen, this is a game. If you're the Suns and you were serious about the in-season tournament, this is a game you got to beat the brakes off of this team and win by 20, 30 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just one of those games. I feel like Devin Booker is going to bounce back from his, not as good of a shooting performance last game. I'm ready for that. My bets reflect it. Let's go.
As far as Yuta goes, Gerald said that Frank Vogel earlier today during his media availability said he's got a, quote, deep thigh bruise and described it as a, quote, significant one that's really painful. And I believe the broadcast guys on Sunday were saying that on Saturday, some of the guys went down to the gym just to get a little bit of work in. And that's when Yuta caught a knee to the thigh. That's what happened.
Damn.
Which is super unfortunate because if you ever get injured in practice, it sucks way worse than getting injured in a game. But I can totally understand how that would be really painful and not something that you should or could play through.
Yeah, and it may really suck for him because I think Nasir Little is taking advantage of every minute he's getting that probably would have went to Yuta. So it may be more costly than just a few games due to injuries.
Yes. So that's where we're looking at injury report wise. We do have a quick little snippet that we want to play for you guys as far as Bradley Beal's injury goes. Yesterday when we talked about it on the show, Saul and Espo said they were trying to get a doctor on to give us a little more insight. We have a longer video on our YouTube page so you guys can watch that full interview. But here's a little snippet that will hopefully make you feel a little bit better about Bradley Beal.
Yeah, so the spine itself is relatively unstable. You have vertebrae that are stacked on top of each other, right? And then you have ligaments and musculoskeletal and other soft tissue support to try to provide that support there. And then contained within each of the discs is almost like a little marshmallow here, right? And this is considered the disc. And the disc takes a lot of the load of the entire body weight. And when we talk about transferring load from the lower extremity to the upper extremity, when we talk about daily movements, those discs withstand a whole lot of force. And so certain movements can irritate the disc, just like you can irritate a muscle, you can irritate a ligament, you can pull those, you can actually irritate this disc or this little marshmallow. And what happens when you irritate that, depending on the severity, on the posterior aspect or the back part of this disc right here is your spinal column and your spine and your spinal cord. And so what can happen is if that disc protrudes out far enough, it can actually impinge upon that spinal column. So when they talk about it being structural and there's no damage to the structures, what they're talking about is the ligaments, to the musculoskeletal components around it. The entire injury is to the disc itself. So that's a really good sign because the disc can heal over time. And the biggest thing that we want to do is decrease that irritation to that disc. And hopefully that will then protrude back or go back to its normal shape. This way it's not impinging upon that spinal column or that spinal cord, creating that sensation of pain going down to the lower extremity.
So are they essentially a shock absorber, and is it like a marshmallow where it will regain its shape?
Yep, exactly. It will regain its shape. Now, what we know over time is as we age, we tend to lose the amount of water that we have within our body, and things start to break down over time. So that marshmallow, for someone who is young, 19-year-old just starting in the league is probably relatively in good shape. An individual, a vet in the league, will probably have a little bit more deterioration to that disc. But overall, the discs are pretty resilient, and they bounce back pretty quickly, no pun intended, to any type of injury.
So some good news that came out of that one, right? We shouldn't be going crazy as far as like trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. Obviously, if we get more information, that can change. But so far, it seems like he just needs some time.
Yeah, well, that's funny because the next question I asked was, like, is this something that can repeat? Is it something, what's the recovery process of this? And he basically said that in the short term, he's got to rest, but you don't want him to rest too long because if you rest too long, then more irritation can happen in some kind of different way. He explains it all in the video. You can go watch it. So there's active recovery that needs to happen. And that, to me, made me feel a little bit better about the prognosis for Bradley Beal moving forward. Now, he did say it could take anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks to completely heal from this, depending on the severity of it. So like the Suns said, in 3 weeks, they're going to reevaluate. Cool. That doesn't mean he's going to come back that next week. It might take him another couple weeks because they just don't see that disc recovering as nicely as they would like.
Yeah.
And yeah, big thanks to Dr. Adam Anfernee, who was the gentleman we spoke to, used to work for the Suns as an athletic trainer too. Somebody in the chat asked, I wonder how this compares to Nash's injury. We didn't ask because he wasn't there with Nash, but I did some research. Nash had 3 bulging discs and a crack in his back as well. And this happened in 1998-99, and he played well into his late 30s, almost to 40. So again, like Dr. Adam said, this isn't career limiting. This is something that you just need to rest and make sure you work on your core muscles. So.
Yeah. The anonymous Buddhist sent us a super chat and said, thanks, Espo and Saul, for clarifying that Beal wouldn't need season-ending surgery. Like, at this point, I feel like the Suns are doing their due diligence of trying to correct this with the least invasive process as possible. Giving him the time he needs to see if he can heal and then moving on from there. But it's just going to take some time, some baby steps, and we'll get there. We'll get it figured out. Figured it out. That's what I just said. All right, so who's starting tonight? We're going to roll out with the same. We've got Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, Kevin Durant, and Jusuf Nurkic. Are you guys hoping to see even more of Nasir Little and potentially some more KBD minutes tonight?
Yes.
I know everyone's been really high on Little, and that's great.
Well, Espo and I were talking about like the future and what it's going to look like for the Suns. And really, who are the main opponents that they're going to really have to worry about? And to me, there's really one significant opponent, and that's the Denver Nuggets. Nasir Little is one of the guys on your roster that you currently have, if you do not make any moves, which I kind of don't foresee, that physically could match up with a guy like, say, Aaron Gordon. He can get in his way. He can provide a little bit of resistance. He won't get bullied as much as, we did last year and what he's doing to other teams this year. So I would very much like to see some more Nasir Little because I feel like he has those skills and that skill set to be able to provide some growth when you need it down the road.
Yeah, and I think Little also you got to keep in mind, much like DA is coming back to play in Phoenix. Nasir Little's going against his old team too, so there's a little extra juice in that tonight. So I'd like to give him as many opportunities as possible. And I think KBD's a guy I always want to see more minutes out of. I enjoy his defense, and this team has very much needed defensive performances. But tonight is all about the big horses. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Nurk. Can they put the pressure on Portland early, and can they keep it going? Because we'll get into it with the in-season tournament talk, but point differential matters tonight.
Bolby in the chat says, what does IST mean? IST means in-season tournament.
Yes. Before we get into the in-season tournament, we do have a super chat here. Marstradamus sent us one and said, so how long will it take Book to dunk on DA? Place bets.
Book's not really the dunk on a person type. Now, he did try in that first Utah game in Salt Lake.
But he's done it a couple times.
Yeah, but he's not built like Ja Morant. You know what I mean? Like where Ja's not doing shit right now, but he would rise up from like a distance, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. He might try though. Who knows?
Give me Nasir Little or Drew Eubanks to dunk on Ayton tonight.
I could see Drew Eubanks being the type of guy who would want to do something like that to a player who has left that team, even though there was nothing there that we're at least aware of. I could see Drew Eubanks being like, well, Book's my guy now, so I'm just going to do it because why not?
The Portland players that got traded to Phoenix really don't have any gripe. Mm-hmm. They moved to a beautiful city. They are on a championship contender. What's there to be mad about? So I don't know if they're really going to have any angst playing Portland. They probably look at Portland favorably and also are saying, hey, thanks for taking care of us.
Yeah, but you always want to impress. Even you want to impress former bosses, former employers if you get the opportunity. And this is a chance to go out there and go maybe even a little, hey, look what you're missing out on.
It depends on what experience they had.
Listen, Portland and Phoenix, though, it'd be one thing if it was like a bad team to another bad team. Portland and Phoenix, I'm living the good life at that point. Yeah. I'm like, thank you for sending me somewhere where I get to play for a contender and potentially win a championship.
Yeah, you took care of me.
Like your whole team basically, not your whole team, but a lot of your team identity fully changed with all the moves that were made. So I'm okay with a little bit of a fresh start.
Maybe they just hate Chauncey Billups. I don't know.
Maybe that too.
Maybe they're just like, screw you, Chauncey.
Maybe you just have a lot of hate in your heart.
It's a solid black piece of coal. It is all hate, no love.
Liar. All right, let's get into the in-season tournament. Saul, you want to break down this graphic for us and give us the lowdown on where we're sitting?
All right. Basically, the Suns got to win out. We already knew that. The Jazz are up 19 on the Suns, but the Suns do own the tiebreaker over the Jazz. But that's not really going to matter right now because you're really battling with all the other teams that are in that 2 spot across the league or across the Western Conference. And so the Suns have got to start to rack up some points. So right now you got the Lakers at 3-0. They're at a plus 42. They're going to win this division. They beat everybody else on this roster, I think, except for Utah, and they play each other. So the Suns are going to be in third place right now. They have a plus 0. Tonight's a big night because you can make up a lot of ground. And if you assume that the Lakers can beat the Jazz and decrease the Jazz total, you can overcome them. But there's other teams like the Nuggets are right now at plus 14. Hell, the Nuggets might not even win their division because the Pelicans beat them head to head. So I think the Nuggets are also going to be fighting for that at-large spot. So there's a lot to be determined still. One spot for 3 second-place teams. Who's going to get it? Point differential is going to be that liar.
I'm going to ask a question that we may not know the answer to, so I apologize if I'm putting anybody on the spot. But if Utah beats LA, we beat Utah, but LA beat us. Does that come down to point differential?
Point
then?
differential in that aspect
So,
as well.
and then the Lakers are up 42 currently in that.
Mhm.
Obviously, if Utah beat them, that would drop.
But the Lakers have already played the Blazers and the Grizzlies, the 2 teams that we have left.
So
Yeah.
basically, you have to run up the score on the Blazers
Yes.
and the
Big time.
Grizzlies to either win this or move into a second place.
Got to beat the
spot.
brakes off.
And
of them.
so that is the question. The question also posed by our friends at ALLCITY, Adam Mares and Tim Legler from our All NBA podcast. Here's what they asked and how they answered, then we'll answer, okay?
How would you, if you were the coach, how would you handle, let's say you're the Phoenix Suns, you're up by 20 points with about 7 minutes to go, and you have Kevin Durant, who usually would check in right now. Are you checking him back into the game?
No chance in that example because of his recent injury history. No
All right.
way. And you're playing for something much bigger. Like when you added Bradley Beal, you got Durant Booker, you got one. If you don't win a championship, your season's a failure. And you've got, Beal's been banged up. Durant has had a lot of injuries over the last few years. No way, man. I can't run him out there for some in-season tournament trying to get a point differential when I'm thinking about the postseason and winning something much bigger.
So are you with legs or how you guys feeling?
God,
What would you
dang.
do?
Listen, I hear legs. I do. And yes, that is the ultimate goal. But the one thing that I've always said about this in-season tournament, especially when it comes to the Phoenix Suns and as many vet minimum players that they have, if you don't give it a shot, then that's not a great look for your vet minimum guys who could use that extra $500K. Let's not be silly about that, right? That's a significant factor here. But man, I don't know, man. KD's a baller. KD's gonna want to play.
I put a minutes limit, right? It's 34 minutes for him and Book. And however much you're up at whatever point you need to pull him in that fourth to meet that, you do that because Kevin Durant is averaging the 3rd most minutes in the NBA right now. And that is the concerning part. If that hadn't been the case, maybe I go, run him out. But right now...
Plus, you did just come off of a double overtime game where both Book and KD played very high minutes.
Plus, to Saul's point, if these guys want their money and they're in the game, they should be running up the score.
That's facts. That's
True.
facts.
But let me say this. The anonymous Buddha actually makes a pretty good point. And I thought about this the other day. Can you scroll down, please? Yeah, there we go. What recent injury history, he says, ? Bro, dudes fell on his knees. Stop this narrative with KD. Now, what I will say is the Achilles, yes. I mean, what are you going to do about that? That's just your Achilles, right? But getting landed on is a little bit different than just some fluke injury where you pull your hamstring or pull your groin or whatever, right? I would tend to agree. And KD loves to play. And he plays all summer long. He's probably played more hours in the gym than he does in the regular season. So I'm not worried about him.
My question is once you get injured in a substantial way, does that open the door for potential for further injury down the line or make you more susceptible to injuries?
Not the things he's had necessarily.
Not too much?
I
don't know. I'm legitimately asking
so.
the question.
I don't think what Katie's had. Now, you could make an argument with Book and some of the soft tissue stuff he's had and the hamstrings and different things. That extra minutes and extra workload could come back to bite you in the ass with him. I could understand that argument. Like I said, I'm torn because this is out there. This in-season tournament is part of what you're doing now. There is something on the line, obviously much less than a championship, but you're also in a stage right now that you're trying to find a rhythm and a groove as this team. You're trying to understand your identity and work on things. So I don't necessarily know that it's the worst thing in the world to go, like I said, 34, 35 minutes with these guys out there and potentially pad that point differential at the same time.
So there's 2 things that the chat brings up as well. So Honcho said we also are on the first leg of a back-to-back.
Sure.
So you had double overtime on Sunday, and now you got back-to-back today, tomorrow. That probably plays a lot into it. And then also, Daniel brings up a good point, too, of our fourth quarter woes as of late. Even if we're up 20, still might be having my normal rotation out there to at least start the fourth quarter to make sure that lead doesn't drop down to 6 or 7.
What I would say is you go balls to the wall for 3 quarters, and you hope that you're up by 30. And if you're up by 30, then hey, yeah, the bench guys can have the fourth quarter. You go from there because you feel pretty safe with that lead, especially when you're playing against a bunch of bench guys for the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. If they're not, if they're like 15, yeah. No, all right. You got to keep them going.
We have a super chat from Psycho Blue. They said, Basketball Cthulhu wishes Ayton the best, but he also hopes he breaks the record for least free throws for a center in a season. Ugh. Basketball Cthulhu, you're being real petty. You're being real petty.
7 free throws in 12 games.
Yeah, 9 and 13.
Yeah. Espo, you got some prizes to hand out?
Yeah, I'm going to give my yeasty boy of the game. My name is Fat Mike from the Discord today. Ayo. You, brother, had some quality bread posting in there, so you are my yeasty boy. DM me your info, and you are going to get a sweet, sweet loaf of Hero bread.
Awesome. And you guys can check out Hero at hero.co or find it on Amazon. You use code PHNX for a little discount off your purchase. All right, what are the guys wearing tonight?
It is the LVA tonight for the Phoenix Suns versus the classic white Blazers. I actually like the Blazer sets, but the LVA is just chef's kiss. Beautiful. It's the in-season tournament court again. Mm-hmm. We'll get the debut of the LVA court sometime in the near future, but in-season tournament court.
Who you guys got tonight and by how much?
Oh, the Suns by 13.
I got the Suns by 25. Give me that point differential.
Saul, you copied me. I also have the Suns by 13. And Gerald has the Suns by 18. So we're all feeling pretty good about this game. But what do our friends over at the BetMGM Sportsbook app think about this one?
They have the Suns as 12.5-point favorites. But if you're feeling frisky, the money line on Portland is at plus 550 tonight.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, listen, it did move a little bit. So some people are putting their money on it. With those odds, I understand why you would be maybe curious to just put a couple bucks on there. Absolutely. What are you guys betting on tonight?
My bet's pretty simple, I guess. I got the Suns alternate spread at 13.5, and then Devin Booker over 20.5 points in 28.5 points in this game, and then Grayson Allen over 9.5 points in the game.
Okay, and that's a plus what? 450? Is that what that was?
It was hard to see. Yeah, 450.
Nice.
I went back to the one thing that's won me any money this year. I went to first point of the game under 17 and a half seconds for either team plus 270.
Okay, all right. What has Flex got his as? So Flex got a 6-leg parlay. He's got the Suns to win. KD points over 25. D Book points over 20. Yusuf Nurkic rebounds over 8, D Book assists over 8, and Eric Gordon points over 8 at a plus 320. We'll see if Book can or what would this be, the third time in a row that he's had substantial amount of assists in a game? So we'll see if that happens. I took a real simple one. It's no surprise there, but it's not a parlay. It's just that DA will have a double-double tonight at a plus 110. It's interesting. I think the first 3 games of the season, I want to say he had a double-double, and then it's been yes, no, yes, no, yes, no since. And last game was a no. So then in theory, tonight should be a yes.
So Lindsay has to root for DA tonight in this game.
Listen,
interesting.
I just have a feeling that if there was one game where I feel like DA would try really hard, it would be this game.
Sure.
So, and when he was on the Suns, he was a double-double machine regardless. So that's what we're going with. What does the leaderboard look like, though? Saul, look at you. Look at you go, Saul.
I told you
finally hit a bet.
Minor setback for a major comeback. Let's go, baby.
Saul is only down $55. He made up quite a bit of ground there on Sunday's game. He was minus 120. But thankfully, that double overtime really came through for you.
And I believe if I win tonight, I'm even.
Are you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think my profit would be $55. I think.
Espo, that means you are dead last at a minus 87.50. Flex is minus 12.55, and I've got a nice $61.09 in my account.
It's what's today? November 21st. I ain't concerned. Unbothered.
Yeah, Psychohawk said minus 87 unbothered, question mark. Are you sure about that, Espo? You sure?
I'm unbothered.
I guess we'll find out. So listen, you guys can watch tonight's game on Arizona Family Sports wherever you live in Arizona. Visit azfamily.com and click Suns Games for listing information for your area. AZ Family is a great resource to help you find Phoenix Suns games on Arizona's Family Sports. And all you need is an antenna. And also, this week, there's all kinds of deals going on. Make sure you check out our friends over at Shady Rays. They are currently running their biggest sale of the year for Black Friday. So don't miss out on the best deal for shades, snow goggles, and prescription sunglasses as well. Go to shadyrays.com and try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Any final thoughts?
No.
Get your stuff in your PHNX locker cart and hit our Black Friday sale coming up at 12:01 on Friday morning, up to 90% off. That's my final thought.
Don't miss out. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with us for the pregame show. Don't forget, we'll be here right after the game wraps up for a postgame show, so plan to come hang out with us then. Okay, bye.
We all silly like the mayor.